Hello, everyone. Oh no, I hear footsteps upstairs. Hello, everyone. I am Rebecca from ChemKnits, and thank you so much for joining me for today's Design Spotlight. So today, I am featuring one of my knitting patterns, the Anemone Coat Check Scarf. And this was the first pattern that I ever listed for sale. And with winter coming to a close, I thought that it would be fun to share it with all of you and talk about a bit of my thought process behind the design, and also to tell you a little bit about it. Welcome, everyone. I'm glad that you could all join me this afternoon. So I started designing this. Before I had the idea for what stitch pattern I wanted to use, I had the concept for the this coat check scarf because there was a particular problem that I wanted to address. Sometimes when you're going out and it's really, really cold, like right now it is in Massachusetts, even though it's April, it is freezing, you sometimes need a scarf to bundle up. But if you're going someplace where you're going to be hanging up your coat, you then have to try to stuff it in your sleeve or something so that way it doesn't fall. So I wanted a scarf that I could hang on a hanger without worrying about it falling. And then I had the idea to make this scarf be sort of a big pocket. So that way, not only can you hang it on a hanger, but you could put your mittens inside of it when you're hanging it up. So the name Coat Check Scarf is really, if you are at a coat check, it's perfect for that. It also works well if you're at a friend's home or something like that. So where you're going to be hanging your coat on a hanger. It's not as good if you're going to hang on a hook, but I thought that there was a function beyond something that was low volume that could keep you nice and warm. So I'm actually going to take off my jacket because it is warm inside, so that way I can show you a little bit about this scarf. Yeah. But I put on the jacket because I thought it would be weird if I started in a sleeveless top while talking about the scarf. So you can see that the scarf, it's sort of like a turtleneck. It's really more of a cowl than a scarf, but it has like a really low profile. It attaches to itself with a series of snaps. So it's really one tube that you've knit. Now, one of the best features of this is the stitch pattern. And let's see. Oh, come on, you're not going to update the exposure? That's a bummer. So this is an anemone bobble stitch, and the bobble sort of has this hole on the inside, which I think is really cool and pretty, and which is why I really liked the texture of it. Let me see if I put on the other camera, if I can show that a bit better, even though the other camera is not so happy right now. Okay, so we're blown out, but you can get a sense of the texture a bit better here. And when I found, where's that camera? Okay. When I found the stitch pattern in a book, I was like, oh, I should modify this so that way I can knit this in the round because it would be perfect for this project. And I knit this using 3 balls, well, about 2.5 balls of Knit Picks Capra yarn. And Capra is their merino cashmere blend, and so it's so soft. This colorway, I'd have to check. I think this colorway isn't available anymore. This is Admiral, but I think navy would be the closest approximation to what there is now. But anyway, so it's a fun stitch pattern. It's knit in the round. It's one piece, but the function of it really comes from the snaps that I sewed on in the end. And let me show you a little bit about this pocket. So I've got buttons, and then I've got these snaps. I've got 3 snaps. Oh dear. I don't know who that is. I've got 3 snaps sewn on. And so on the back of the buttons, there's the snaps for the connection. But these buttons aren't just decorative, they do serve a purpose. If I unbutton this, if I unbutton it, Capra is not single ply. Then we got you know, we've got our long, long, long pocket. So then when you have some mittens, and I dyed the yarn in these, but these aren't my design. You can take your mittens and place your mittens. Oh gosh, I'm off camera. Okay, so you can place your mittens inside the tube. Then you can rebutton, and realizing that my whole thing's in my lap, you can't see it because I'm zoomed in on my face. Okay, so rebutton it so it's not going anywhere. And then line up the snaps again. Snap it closed. And then voila, you can have your scarf and your mittens in a little pocket on the hanger when you hang up your coat. And so then you're not worried about it falling out of your pockets. Now, if you have pockets that have a zipper or something, then you don't need to worry as much about your mittens. But I thought that it would be nice. And I guess, I don't know why, at the time I wasn't thinking about more traditional cowl scarves, because those would also fit over a hanger really nicely. But yeah, I thought that that was a problem that I had, and so this was my solution to address it. Yeah, thank you. There is a coupon right now. The coupon code is, I think I put it in the chat once already. I'll put it in again. Oh no. Okay, I guess I don't have it in my, okay, the link to the pattern is in the video description. And if you use the coupon code SPOTLIGHT2, you'll get 15% off the pattern fee through April 11th is when that coupon code expires. So you can get it at a bit of a discount since you're here watching, and yeah. But it's a fun, fast knit. And I am always available to ask questions. So then you could, so in theory when I was designing this, I thought about sewing, instead of snaps, sewing the buttons to the scarf. So that way the buttons would go through 2 layers of fabric when you were closing it over the mittens. The problem was that I just wasn't sure if the buttons would be able to stay. I was worried about the buttons kind of working through since the fabric was thicker. I think if you were doing this in maybe a fingering weight yarn or something, you could get away with doing 2 sets of the buttonhole stitch to get that to work. But I don't know, the buttonhole, I'm not sure, because it's so dark. Okay, coming up on the other camera again. The buttonholes are actually like worked into the pattern. So you still are working on the bobble stitches, but all the instructions for this are written, and it's really a repeat, I think, of 4 rows. There's 2 rows to make, you know, the bobble stitch, and then 2 rows to make the bobble stitch sort of slightly off center. So it is something that is fun, and I cannot see the, oh no, chat anymore. Yes, there's definitely enough space that you could fit a hat or something in here as well. But it made it so when I was doing this, I didn't reread these instructions in the pattern, but so I obviously knit the buttonholes into it. I then sewed the buttons on and closed it. Oh no, I've got the other camera up still. Sorry guys. Okay, I then closed the buttonholes, and then I turned it around to know, after I had the buttons sewed on, then I sewed on the snaps, and I sewed on the snaps behind each of the buttons, which makes it easy for me to find, say if I'm wearing it, I know then, okay, it's the snaps are behind the buttons. And then I was able to place them on the other side with just some sewing thread. But yeah, so it's pretty fast to get on, and it's easy to fit. I don't really want to put my jacket back on because it's warm in here, but it's easy to fit on like while you're out and about, and so it's really fun. Yeah, these buttons. So you know how Knit Picks has those wooden needles? They used to sell buttons that were made out of that same wood, and so these were some that I got some of the Harmony wood buttons. And so it's something that, oh, okay, honey, let me know when you're done. It's like clockwork. I do a stream during nap time, and then I get called up for Lucas. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. You've seen the design as a flat cowl, but the round is a clever idea. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, you could certainly do this in almost any stitch flat to just have the basic warmth. But the double layer not only gives you more warmth, but then you have a big pocket, which, I mean, technically, I suppose you could toss a credit card or something in here as well if you're going out and you're going to be keeping your coat on, but you don't have a purse. So there are like other function. It's nice to have some function in with clothing as well. Ooh, cool. Yeah. I mean, I never thought about putting a credit card in it until just now. And so it really is just a big tube that has buttonholes at the end, at one end, and then the other end, I wasn't very comfortable with the Kitchener stitch yet, so I wrote it as you bind off and then you stitch the end together, but you could completely graft it together as well if you wanted to. Yeah, it's a way to, I guess, modify beyond. Yeah, but do you guys have any questions about this? I have a feeling that I am going to need to leave momentarily as soon as I get the, Mommy, I'm done. But, and also it's large enough that, well, I guess I did unbutton it while I was doing that, but I can, here, let me button it first. It's actually easier for me to button it while I'm trying to put it on myself. But it is large enough that I can slip it on without needing to unbutton it or unsnap it. So if you think that you would struggle to do snaps this way, it is possible for me to do. Oh, it's DK weight. It's a DK weight yarn. Capra, there's also a link to Capra in there. I think that I was working on this design and then they released Capra and I was like, oh, that's perfect. I remember being really, really excited about the launch of the yarn. And I don't think I thought that the yarn was going to be as dark as it was. And now that I've done a lot more designs, I would have picked I think a lighter or brighter color to use. So I love this as an accessory for me to wear, but I don't think that, and you can see my hair go all, I don't think that you get, and in person, you can really appreciate the texture of it. But I think that it's harder to really appreciate that. Oh, maybe I can catch some light. It's harder to appreciate the texture of the stitch in photographs and stuff. But the bobble stitch is really, really easy. And because I'm me, there is a video as well that shows the stitch. And so it'll take you through the instructions so that way you have an easier time. But I'm glad I have the second camera so that way I can show you guys. Even if it's totally blown out, but then you can see more of the stitch definition. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it was one that was near and dear to my heart. And the first one, I figured, you know, I was back in the day, I didn't buy a lot of patterns from independent designers, and I was sort of hesitant to list one for sale. But this one I thought there was more idea and a little more work behind it than some of the designs that I'd been offering for free on my website, which is why I put it in my Ravelry store. Yes, unfortunately, Knit Picks no longer has these buttons. At least, I mean, they discontinued them a while ago. It's possible that they could have reintroduced them and I didn't notice, but they were the Harmony wooden buttons. But the fun thing is you could find really a lot of different kinds of fun buttons to use for this. Oh yeah. I mean, I'm like, ooh, maybe I need to make, kind of do an update of this pattern with doing a really nice semi-solid or something. But this would work beautifully even in a wild patterned yarn, because you would see because of the way that these stitches end up working with, you know, you make this really big increase in one level and then knit them all together in the next, you could get something really, really cool looking with, if you have like really short color changes as you're putting it together. Have I ever tried to dye yarn with turmeric or paprika? Well, not entirely, but slightly. I'm working on a video right now where I use some natural food coloring, and I believe it has turmeric in it, in the yellow. So not directly using the spice, but using something that's intended to use it for its color. I've played around a bit with that. Yes, it's nice and warm. It's perfect for, say, going, you're gonna go see a show or something. Because if you are gonna check a coat and they give you the hanger, then you can put it over the hanger, and it's just, you know that it's not gonna get lost. And so I thought that would be handy, because there are other times we've gone places that I've not worn a scarf and suffered, and so I thought that it was nice to do. Thanks. I'm glad that you guys are enjoying it. This one was a really fun one, and I think my sister-in-law gave me the book that gave me, I love stitch dictionaries. If I'm ever, like, I love just libraries of stitch dictionaries, because looking through, and in the stitch dictionary, this one was written flat. So I had to modify it so that way I could, so it could be done in the round, which was not a difficult modification. But I like to start using, as a designer, I like to sometimes I'll have the idea for the shape or the function, but I want to stitch to really bring it to life. And so sometimes I'll start trying to draw my own cables or something, but other times I might look at a stitch dictionary for some inspiration. So like when I did, and I'll feature it at some point, my 14 cable hat, that I poured through stitch dictionaries, pulled out different cables, turned them into charts, and had a blast. But anyway, thank you all for joining me today. I am really, really happy to share this design with you, and I'll pop it on one more time. And I'll even put on my coat. Well, I don't really need my hood. The funny thing is, it's so cold outside right now that I was like, oh man, I'm going to be doing this later at a time where it's not as useful. Maybe I can tilt that down. But, you know, it's cute. I mean, certainly I could zip this up all the way and just have that extra layer of warmth. But it's something that also lays flat. So there's not a lot of bulk to it, but there is a lot of warmth. And so it's just sort of nice and fun. But yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed kind of hearing a little bit about my design, my thought work behind a design, and about one of my older designs. And yeah, I kind of like getting to look back and think back about where I was when I was creating patterns. And so it's kind of fun for me. I haven't been working on I have a design notebook filled with ideas that I haven't really been working on because I've been doing more dyeing tutorials lately. But I do foresee some new patterns in my future that I am excited to share with you. So I hope that you all have a wonderful afternoon, and with any luck in the next few days, okay, I'm coming, honey. With any luck in the next few days, I will be on with a yarn dyeing live stream. I've got something fun planned that hopefully health and school happen, so that way I can do that. We might have a little cold coming around right now. But anyway, I hope that you guys are all warm and happy and have lots of fun fiber to play with. I am Rebecca from ChemKnits, and check the links of the video to learn more about the patterns and the coupon code if you want to purchase this design. Goodbye, everyone. Oh. I say goodbye and I'm far away from the button, and yeah. Okay, goodbye for real.